Good morning. In this tutorial I'm going to walk through the steps for the two-child family tutorial. So the first thing we're going to do is pull down a sampler, and I'm going to use two spinners. So I'm going to take the spinner device and drop that where the mixer is. I'm going to grab another spinner and go to the right of the first one and drop it and let go. This one's empty, so let's hit the plus sign twice so we can populate this. I'm going to start over on this side and then we'll go back to the other one. Let's change this B to an uppercase B and the A to a girl. Let's go back over here and change the B to uppercase B and the A to a G for girl. Notice how when this opened up it was not 50-50, so I'm going to not do that. Let's open this little down arrow here for our menu and go down here to Equalize Angles. We can also show the percent, the proportion, lots of different things that we can do in here, and the way to get to this menu is this little down arrow. So if I want to show the percent, I can do that to make that bigger. Let's see, over here I want to show the proportion. I can do that, but again I need to make the sampler quite a bit bigger for that to work, to show up. So I'm going to leave those off for now and we'll get started with our experiment. Let's put the repeat at 20. And we have to have the draw at 2 because we have two devices in here. So that's going to default to 2. We can't make it something else because it's got 2. So that's fixed. All right, so let's run it. Again, this is going to start out going pretty slow. It's on medium speed, so we can actually see what's happening. So notice that after the spinner goes, oh, that time we got a boy. We go over here. That time we got two boys. So you can actually see what's happening as the spinner's running, and then it populates the table over here. So what's going on over here? We've got our first attribute, our second attribute, and then this join attribute. So what they decided to do in TinkerPlots, they said, okay, let's put these two together, because when we start looking at the different outcomes for having two children, we really want to look at these outcomes together. So we have a girl-boy, girl-boy, boy-girl. So these are the different outcomes. So those are the things that we're going to want to graph, this join attribute. So let's pull down a plot. And let's take a look at the join attribute. So I'm going to grab this, drop it on my horizontal axis, stack my icons. I can change the colors if I want to, but they look okay to me. And I'm going to pull this over here because I want you to see the options when I click over here. So notice that we do have a lot of little options here, just as an FYI. We also have some options up across the top here. And these are the ones that I want to look at. So under count, we have percent, and we also have case count. So we can look at those. And let's turn off the case count and leave the percent on there. So one of the things you can talk about with your students is, okay, what's the probability that you would get boy-boy? What's the probability that you get boy-girl, girl-boy, girl-girl? At least one boy would be these three. And what you can do in TinkerPlots is you can actually grab an icon and move it into the next column over. And this is important because the problem asked us the probability of a boy and a girl, and it didn't matter which order. So some of you are saying, wow, that's a combination, and you're right. And some students will say, well, this is 1/3, this is 1/3, this is 1/3, but as you guys can see, it's not. This is a nice way of showing students that you're actually combining these two categories, these two outcomes. This is categorical data, so you are combining those categories. And what's interesting is this actually did fall in the percentages that we thought it might, but that's not always going to happen. So let's run this again, and let's speed this up a little bit. And there we go, completely different. What happens when we run it again? Completely different. So to extend this activity, you would probably want to start looking at sample size, what's going to happen if we increase the repeat value. I'm going to pause and think about anything else I might want to cover in this tutorial. And yes, there is something else to talk about. So up here in the options, sampler options, I want to look at some other things that we can do in here. Let's go to the results options and let's click on combinations of joined values. Remember when I said this can be thought of as a combination because boy, girl, boy doesn't make any difference. So let's turn on combinations, and that's going to add this new variable or new attribute to our table. So now let's graph that. Let's see what happens. Let's pull down a plot and graph combinations. Now notice how the color changed, and I talked about this in the other video. Notice how that color changed, and over here I really want to keep my colors from the join attribute, so I'm going to click in this plot and go up and put on my color key, and I'm going to close this so it doesn't get in the way and lock it and then move it over here. Okay, so now when I get over here to my combination plot, notice that the boy-girl color is all the same, because what we've done here is we've said, okay, it's a combination. So boy, girl, boy, doesn't matter what order it's in. Let's go ahead and stack those. And let's go and put our percentage. And we should have the same exact value there, which we do. I'm going to pause again and check the text and see if I need to cover something else, so bear with me. Okay, so I noticed something in the activity that's different from what you see on the screen is I have these two attributes showing these individual first child, second child, and I can get rid of those in this option menu by clicking on, and for some reason I was messing around when I paused it, that went off the screen, but this little option here, separated values, if you click on this, that will toggle these two separate attributes on and off. So that's why it looks different. I had turned this off when I created the activity. Okay, so the second part of this activity, part B, has to do with the theoretical probability. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply start fresh and replace the spinners with counters. And they should pick up the same properties. I should see just two spots. It's hard to see, so let me make this bigger. There should only be two options here in the counter. One should be a boy, one should be a girl. One is a girl, one's a boy. One way to double check on this is to turn on the count tool. So okay, I see I have two. Let's do that over here. Show count. I have two. Now, these have to be 50-50 because this is a counter. So I don't have to worry about any kind of proportionality there. Let's put our repeat down to 2 and let's see what happens. And that went kind of fast because I have it on fast. So we'll slow it down. Let's run it again. So the first counter had a girl and a girl. Girl, boy. Now it's going to slide over to the boy over here. Oh, I only set it to 2, so okay, well let's try this again on 3. It's very important that we see how this is working. Girl, 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 boy, and now we have a boy and a girl. Now I'm going to do something that might seem odd. I'm going to put this up to 5 and I'm going to speed it up. So what just happened? We have girl, 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 boy, boy, girl, boy, boy. Hope I said that correctly. And then girl, girl. Well, what happened when we got to this fifth one? You guys can think about that. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, guys.